Hi, welcome to the first edition of Dinim. This is a trial run. We're going to introduce really the style of how I envision Dinim to be in terms of the class, not the overall concept, but how the class will change. We're going to find our rhythm, but here's how we're going to go. Rod, you're going to be my right-hand man, someone to bounce ideas off of. If anybody wants the microphone, this is an interactive class. So click on the mic, your bubble will go up. And that means, Rod, you'll sign off when that happens. Mm-hmm. And when they're done, if you can just pick the microphone back up, and we'll go like that. Please do not hesitate to take the microphone. This is a Beit Din through the mold of the Beit Midrash, right? The study hall that we're learning Torah to get conclusions, and we're learning the seventh Noahide law of Dinim. When I ask for a 1 or 2, it's confirmation. Can I get a 1 or 2? Which means give me a 1 that you're on the same page with me and we're ready to go Weiter and Shas. We're going to learn how to speak a little bit Yeshivish. We're going to pick up the tempo. We're going to learn new words. You don't have to know the words. These words are going to be the same every class. So if you don't get it now, you'll get it within 6 months. Can I get a 1 or 2? Everyone give me a 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. All right, Rod, you're looking at Kiddushin 70B. Okay, this is Kiddushin 70B. Their page isn't exactly as nice as my page. Otherwise, I'd show you why it's called 70B. I also want to point those things out to you guys, but it's not the best image in the world. So Kiddush, I'm going to always give a little bit of a clarification as I go through this. By the way, we're starting at 9:11, so around 10:15 we should start to wrap things up. Kiddushin is a tractate in the Talmud. It's in the order of the Mishnayos, the oral law, in the order of Nashim, which is women. Right? There's Ketubot, like the Ketubah when you get married. Kiddushin, I don't know all of them offhand. There's several tractates in that portion of the Talmud. You know what? I'm going to switch chairs. This is hold on. Okay, now let's go. So, Rod, go down. Everyone follow down the page. Scroll down to the image to the fourth to last line in the middle column. Everyone type 1 when you're there. Scroll down, fourth to last line when in the middle column, the big bold print. Everyone there? Anyone not there? Rod, you there?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, 1,
okay.
2. Oh, counting the last word.
The last word looks
line. Like, I can't really read it, but it looks like my.
You want to go 4 lines up from the bottom.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. See it? See my green check?
Yeah.
Okay. So here we go. Try to follow along. I know you might not read Hebrew, but try. So you can. If you try, you will grow. Amar Rebbe Chelbo. Okay, Rod, you with me?
Amar. Let me try to find where. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Amar Rebbe Chelbo.
Gotcha.
Kashim Gerim LeYisrael Kasapachat. Shenemar V'nilva Hager Aleihim. V'nispachu al Beis Yaakov Ksiv. Hacha v'nispachu Ksiv Hasam Ulaseis Ulasapachat. I know you don't understand what I'm saying. Don't worry about it. Here we go. We're gonna break it down. Just listen to the construct. You want to get the wisdom from this class. Is that affirmative?
Oh, yes.
All right. When you hear me say Amar Rebbe Chelbo, right? Remember, you can rewind this recording 1 billion times. Amar Rebbe Chelbo. You heard the sound kind of like Rebbe. That's rabbi. Mm-hmm. What we're saying is Rabbi Chelbo says. Kashim Gerim LeYisrael. How many of you have ever heard this idea before? Gerim are harsh on Israel like his skin disease. Type 1 or 2 if you've ever heard that before. Rod, you and I learned that years ago.
Yes.
Everybody has heard that before? Anybody not heard that before? Everybody's good? So don't you want to know what that means? Give me a 1 or 2 here, Rod. What do you think? Don't you want to know what does that really mean?
So many good levels on
Israel, like thorns or whatever, is Gerim. What do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah, I'm saying, do you want to know what it means?
Yes, absolutely. I think look, it has so many layers to it as well. So this is really good.
Exactly. So we want to know Kashim Gerim Yisrael Kesapachat. Now, let me just tell you what I'm seeing. I'm going to tell you what I'm seeing the whole time. All right, just to let you know what's there. You might not be able to read a page of Talmud, but you need to know what the reality is. What is there? So aside from the words, obviously, by Rabbi Chilbo's name, I am seeing that it is a reference to two other tractates in the Talmud. Two other places in the Talmud are going to bring this and the same idea, okay? It's going to be in the tractate Nida and in tractate Yevamos, which is all Nashim. Why it's in the order about women, I don't know. It's, funny things happen in Talmud. Kashim Gerim Yisrael Kesapachat. Harsh on Israel are Gerim. The question is going to be, what is Sapachat? Now, when you say, I don't know the Hebrew, Rabbi Katz, you're blowing my mind. I don't know what it means either. And neither is any rabbi that's going to tell you that. Can I get a 1 or 2? Please type 1. No one's going to tell you what Sapachat is. So the Gerim are harsh on Israel like thorns. It doesn't mean thorns. That's number 1. Number 2, they don't know what Sapachat means. So yeah, I can say it like I'm fluent just like anybody else. Kashim Gerim Yisrael Kesapachat. I have no idea what it means. Do you understand that? We don't know what it means right now. Anyone that tells you what it means, you should assume that they've learned what we're learning, and I guarantee you they have not. How do I know they have not? Kiddushin is not one of the standard diets learned in yeshiva. That's number 1. Number 2, if they have learned it, this is an iyun issue, meaning an in-depth learning. Most people do not learn in depth. It's like saying that most baseball pitchers are knuckleballers. They're not. You get one a generation. Now, by the word difficult, there's a Rambam citation. How many of you want to know what the Rambam says about this? Anybody does not want to know what the Rambam says about this?
Go for it.
Hold on, we're not there yet. I'm just getting a public opinion poll. We're going to do the Rambam. I'm introducing to you what we're going to do. Then the Talmud makes this statement, and they tell you the proof. How do you know that Gerim are harsh on Israel like this Sapachat, whatever Sapachat is? Do you hear the question? There's going to be a lot of 1s and 2s. Give me a 1. Do you hear the question? How, Rabbi Chilbo, you who say this fantastic statement about harsh are Gerim, where do you get that from? The Talmud says we get it from Isaiah 14:1. Rod, do you have a Tanakh handy?
Stand by. Hold on 1 second.
Everyone should look up Isaiah 14:1. The Talmud is telling you to look it up. This is not a guess. This is not in the dark. It says, Shenemar v'nilva hager aleim v'nisfachu al beis Yaakov. A reference to Isaiah 14:1. Therefore, it is a fact. Go ahead.
Yes, so the Lord will have mercy on Yaakov and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the stranger will or shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Yaakov.
So the stranger will attach and cleave to the house of Yaakov. Is that correct?
Correct.
Does that sound like a skin disease or thorns?
Neither. Sounds like
that's
skin.
A problem. Why would it not sound like skin diseases and thorns when we are told it is skin disease and thorns? It's called bad translation. That's one thing. Now, in 14:1, let's just go ahead and get a quick run through of my version over here. Okay? Remember, this will be recorded, and you can check back all these things. Try to just keep your ears open. We're going to go pretty fast for time constraints. All the classes will not go this fast. I'm just showing you what we're doing. We want to learn Dinim. We want to learn what are Noahide laws in the grand scheme of things. Is that correct? Everyone give me a 1 or 2.
That's correct.
Kirachim Hashem es Yaakov. Ubachar od b'Yisrael v'nicham al admasav v'nilva hager aleim v'nispachu al beis Yaakov. Okay, the Nilva ger. How many of you have been hearing me of late calling it the Nilva? Ger / Nilva, whatever combo. Do you want to know what Nilva means? Is it a good time to know what Nilva means? So the Nilva ger is on y'all, the Jewish people, B'nai Yisrael. V'nispechu. What is that nispechu? It's the same type of word as sapachat. It's the same word, just a different grammatical format. And then it's on the house of Jacob. Here we go. We're going to read the most classic of classic commentators. Here we go. And we are on Mitzudat Tzion, one of the classic commentators in the Mikros Gedolos of the Tanakh. Inyan Chibur, Kamo Levayas Chain. He says it's the language of joining, like the joining of grace in Proverbs. That's the Mitzudat Tzion. Now, the Nilva, this is Mitzudat David, another classic commentator. The Nilva Yischavru Gerim Aleihim V'nisbechu Kefil Hadvar. They're the joining of Gerim onto them, and Sapachat is a double language. It's like a hey buddy, good pal, right? Double language. Radak, another classic. V'nilva hager aleihim. The Nilva ger is on them. The Gerim nischavram Gerim aleihim. The Gerim are joined on them. They wrote them to see them. Ki bechirban bekol tihiyah chuasam yodu ki besavta haya chorben hahu. Right, he's going to go on a long-winded thing, talking about the Gerim attached to Israel. And who else do we have on board here?
Eric.
This is Nilva. Okay, that's that. And that should be about all of them. Of the main commentators. Rashi, our friend Rashi, is not exactly commenting. And Targum Yonason, the Aramaic translation, is not exactly contradicting either. Okay, now that's done for what did we just accomplish? We looked up the verse. You always look up the verse. No one looks up the verse, but you will always look up the verse. Understand that. You will always look up the verse. Because then proverbial they, cannot tell you what they think it means. We just looked up the verse. Did it have anything to do with thorns, harshness, skin diseases, or anything else?
Negative.
But we know that they are firmly affixed onto Israel, right? The nature of ger is to attach, like really attach to Israel. Now, we go on and we bring another verse. Rod, please read Vayikra 14:56. The Gemara makes a connection between 14:1 and 14:56 in Vayikra. Please read.
Okay, here we go. And for a swelling, and for a scab, and for a bright spot.
So the Ramban, they are Nagoyim, skin diseases. Harishonim shepetach behem adam ki or basro b'kol makom yacher. Okay, so it's a skin malady. All right, it is a skin malady. Sapachat is a skin malady. Now, do you hear the obvious question? Why are they bringing the source from Isaiah and linking it with the verse in Vayikra? There is a skin disorder called sapachat, and there is a sapachat which also means to join. You can imagine a skin disorder is that which is joined to your skin, correct?
Correct.
Okay, can anybody guess with logical deduction where the Talmud wants to go with this? Why are they saying harsh on Israel or Gerim like sapachat? What's the svara? Know that word, svara. What is the logic of this law? And this is a law. Remember, the Rambam's paskening here, ladies and gentlemen. He is going to say this is a law. What is the answer?
Somebody want to come in?
If nobody wants to, so go ahead and Rod, take a stab.
Okay, I want to take a stab. I'm not sure if I'm going to get there, but where did the person go who was in the camp when he did have Sarats? He went outside the camp.
Okay.
And it's about a process of reflection and tshuva and returning. He goes out where the Gerim are at, and the whole idea is that the Gerim this is my idea, okay? This is just something I'm seeing, that it is the Gerim who will be there to attach themselves, and in the same way that going outside of the camp and self-reflection and doing tshuva and going to the priest, we're going to be doing that to the nation of Israel. It is somehow the Gerim attaching themselves will cause the Jew to draw closer to Hashem.
Let me tell you why you're wrong.
Okay.
You gave a drasha,
Right.
a very nice explanation. This is not the class for drasha. This is dinim. Remember, halacha is not feel-good midrash.
Right.
So you got to really know that.
Okay.
Din is din. I'm telling you, most Jews don't know this. What I'm teaching you, right? You got to know when to be din, judgment, and you got to know when to be kind and soft. When you give an explanation of the Talmud, you did very good, right? That was spot on. But we want to know the halacha.
Right.
I want to know the din. It's got to be harsh, and then we make it sweet and bringing the wisdom out of the din, right? But first we have to start with din. We can't just say, we know that the Gerim are not a problem, so let me explain it to you that we're not a problem. You are a problem. So it says you're very harsh on Israel. But we know what Gerim are in reality, in the drasha, and the explanation. We have to then formulate the din, but then we have to see the wisdom that the din becomes sweet with mercy. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the answer. I'll tell you how the Vilna Gaon answers it, just off the top of my head. Glue in Hebrew is davek. The Gerim are davek me'od. You make a ger, he's clinging on to you for life. Is that a 1 or 2? Right. So now, in general, from what we know about Gerim, right, and we all know about Gerim at this point, are there good Gerim in the world? Okay, so maybe you're a good person, correct? Are there bad Gerim in the world? Erev Rav, bad Gerim. Okay, so is that a reality? It's either good ger or bad ger. Therefore, the Rambam's we're gonna end, when we do end, the Rambam's gonna tell you, what do we do with good Gerim and bad Gerim? Just as a din. Remember, it's the 7th Noahide law, Dinim. Dinim is connected to Gerim. We have to know how to handle Gerim. The Gerim have to know how to handle Gerim. We're going to refine this law within the next hour onto yourselves, and you're going to understand it clearly. But first, you have to understand the question. Okay? This is the process of dinim. Don't try to get the answer yet. I don't know if you're good people. You understand what I mean when I say that? We have to keep it open. We don't know who anyone is or what anything is. I don't know because I haven't been told. All I know is there are these people, like Rod said, from out of the camp, and when they come onto the Jews, they're sticking like glue. Is that true? 1 or 2? And it's either going to be harsh good or harsh bad. It's going to be Isaiah harsh clinging or Vayikra skin disease clinging. Right? We don't know. Okay. Now, that's the Talmud. We got what's called pshat in the Talmud. Do you understand the methodology as I've depicted it of learning pshat in the Talmud? It's like no frills, no friends, no fun, so to speak. You just get to the point. Right? That's dinim. Like that is dinim. Your job from handling the din, turning it to mercy, that's your job. That's my job. That's all of our jobs. But there's no mercy to turn anything into if we don't understand the situation. Rabbi Chelbo didn't have an opinion, are you good or bad? He stated what he heard is a fact, Kashim Gerim LeYisrael Kasapachat. Where he got that from, now that would be a fun research project, but not for right now. Right? I would love to know where he got that. Now that's really where Rabbi Katz comes on, and will show you 20,000 sources of where this dictum comes from, Kashim Gerim LeYisrael Kasapachat. But that's not what we're doing. Rashi, why do we go to Rashi? Because everyone goes to Rashi first. It's how you do it. She'enam zehirim b'mitzvahs. Gerim are not cautioned or practiced in mitzvahs. V'haragilim atzlem nimshachim atzlem v'loimdim min ma'asehim. We are regular by gerim, and then we're drawn by them, and we learn from their deeds. Can you understand now how it can be a problem? If the Jew is watching the ger, the Jew can come to an error because the gerim are not attempting to be Jews. The gerim are attempting to be gerim. Now, when you get a secular Jew, I'm going to make this up for context. A lot of gerim like to cover their hair, one or two. The women like to cover their hair these days. Let's pretend that there is a halachic way to tie your hair. There's not, but let's pretend. Women have to cover their hair or they die. All right? That's not a true law. I made it up, but let's pretend. Type 1. The Jew then watches the ger woman tie her hair, and she ties it wrong. Okay? She ties it wrong. She now is afraid for her life. Why? Because the ger woman doesn't have this yoke on her like the Jew. I'm making this up for context. Don't forget that. The Jew sees, hey, religious woman covering her hair. She must know better than I do. The rabbi's wife was wrong. I'm going to cover like her. Now, you can imagine for Shabbat. I'm a Baal Tshuva. I want to keep Shabbat. I see Gerim in Texas keeping Shabbat. They're smoking cigarettes. I want to smoke a cigarette. I go and smoke a cigarette on Shabbos. Do you understand the situation? I just transgressed Shabbos. Gerim are not keeping Shabbos like Jews. They're not into the severity of the mitzvah like Jews. The Jew sees it, he's in trouble. If the ger wants to keep it like a Jew, that's called a conversion. Right? There's no need for the conversion. Now, I'm going to ask you a very challenging question. I don't know if you know the answer. Can anybody tell me the potential problem here? And this is going to be the entire thrust of the class. Does anybody know the problem, Adkan? The problem is, how do I know a Jewish convert ger from a Noahide ger, from a strict religious ger? Are there not many kinds of gerim? Now can you understand where Dinim really, really applies? It's going to be on the ger. Why is Dinim the mitzvah of the Bnei Noach that brings ger in? You see where I'm going? Ger only exists through Dinim. A ger is one who makes his Dinim din ger toshav, as opposed to din ben Noach. Right, let's just say there's laws of Ben Noach, the Dinim Ben Noach. There's also Dinim Ger Toshav. You understand the difference? Din Ger Toshav, Din Ben Noach. The Ben Noach, if he steals a penny, you put him to death, whatever the law is. A Ger has a different set of rules of what constitutes the Din. Now, once we're in the world of the ger, available on Amazon.com, $28.95 or whatever it is, the link, the ger are going to have the responsibility to understand the dinim they have taken on themselves. So the ger must get into dinim because he or she is identified by their relative dinim. The Noahide has chosen to not enter Ger Dinim. They have nothing to do with Ger conversion, Ger Toshav. They have settled on Din ben Noach. So Kashim Gerim LeYisrael Kasapachat. Is that connected to the Noahide? Gerim are harsh on Israel like thorns and skin disease and superglue. Does that affect the Noahide? 1 or 2? You would say 2. I would say you're wrong. Why? Why are you wrong? Because a Noahide who keeps the 7 laws of Noah is actually a Ger Toshav. That is part of the irony of this world. When you look at Avodah Zarah 64b, who is a Ger Toshav? He who keeps the 7 laws of Noah. Therefore, when we make Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, 7 laws of Noah, are they going to be Davek Ma'od? Will they stick to us a lot? Or are they totally exempt from the superglue trait of harsh on Israel like thorns or Gerim? What would you say in the Svara? Know that word, Svara, the logic of the law, i.e., are the Noahides exempt from the logic of this law? 1 or 2, or what do you think, Rod?
I don't think they're exempt from this law.
That's right. So then how do you resolve a Noahide argues vehemently he's not a ger, but you think he's not exempt from this law?
And what's your question?
The answer is why are they called Noahides but yet connected to a ger law?
I'm afraid to say. I don't know.
The answer is because they're wrong. They are gerim.
Gotcha.
Now, there's gerim called B'nai Noach. Look in the Rambam, Hilchos Malachim 10:10. A ben Noach can take on any other mitzvah in the Torah. The words are interchangeable. Some B'nai Noach are ger, some ger are not B'nai Noach. Again, how do you know who and what you are and what is relative to you? You must know your dinim. Now, we're gonna explore more. The point is, when we get into the Rambam, you're going to see the scope of harsh on Israel like thorns or gerim. Gerim here, which gerim are we talking about? We're talking about every type of non-Jew who comes near the proximity of Israel. Now, there are, in that, the Rambam will say there are conversions, there's Ger Toshav. The bottom line is, just like as a Bo Tshuva, I am a ger. You know that law? In Bava Metzia, the tractate of the Talmud, David Katz yesterday was in an ashram singing Kumbaya. Today I want to learn Torah by a rabbi. He cannot taunt me by saying, David Katz, yesterday you were singing Kumbaya in an ashram, and today you think you're super religious Jew. You just taunted the ger. I am halachically in the dinim of a ger. 1 or 2. But I'm still a Jew. So we see that the dinim are not rigid. They are wisdom chunks. If you want to use the word chunks, right? It's wisdom of how to view you, them, yourself, your relationship to the world. The wisdom is ascertained through that famous word, svara, the logic, right? Logically, I am a ger if I was in Avodah Zarah yesterday and I want to learn Torah today. I am logically a ger. So it doesn't get into the status. So this is why I'm against the word status. I'm a ger Toshav. I'm a ger Tzedek. No, you're not. You're a human being. Your name is John. You understand? You are a human. Hello, human. Should we call you Mork? You are a human being. You use svara to understand in the Torah which human am I in relationship to the mitzvot and Torah. Give me a 1 or 2. There's no such thing as a status. It doesn't exist. What there is the logic of who you are, where you are, and how you are. If now we're giving a class and Bob the idolater comes in, and I say, oh, Bob, you're such an idolater. Did I taunt the ger? Yes. Yesterday he was in Avodah Zarah. Today he wants to learn Torah. So I taunted the ger. And he would say, but I'm not a ger. I'm a ben Noach. No, Bob, you're a ger. Right? The dinim of the Torah mandates you are a ger. Because the logic dictates, the wisdom dictates, therefore you are. Okay. Now we understand why are gerim harsh on Israel like thorns or skin diseases or whatever word you want to use. Why? Because they cling. When a non-Jew comes to Torah and the nation of Israel in any capacity, either for good or for bad, they become harsh to you. Why? Because we start doing what you do. You want to do what we do. We want to then, you then appear you know what you're doing because you want to be authentic. The lesser educated of among us watch what you do. And now it's called the blurring the lines of Jew and Gentile. If you want to borrow that line, type 1 or 2. Blurring the lines. That's not a ger issue. That's called a life issue. It is a reality issue. All right? When Jews and non-Jews start to get religious under the wings of the Shekhinah and Torah, it gets very difficult. Hey, doesn't the Talmud say something about that? Rod, anyone? Doesn't the Talmud say there's a condition when Jews and non-Jews are in proximity? Isn't it called something?
I can't recall what it's called.
Harsh on Israel like thorns are gerim. Correct? There you go. That's why. That's why. And it's a creation thing. It's a Bria thing. It's not because David Katz is making gerim and Rod is teaching people non-Jews and humble and this and that. No, it isn't. It's difficult. Torah is difficult. When Jews are around non-Jews and non-Jews are around Jews. Does the Torah here say it is forbidden for Jews to be around non-Jews?
No.
No. Well, does it say anywhere, go away and hang garlic outside your door? Does it say that anywhere? Okay. So it simply says it's difficult. It's difficult. And it might end up being like a skin disease. Okay, for all the Ashramizes out there, it's like it's skin disease. And it might be like super glue and you have a great experience with gerim. Is that a 1 or 2? And it comes down to you either knowing who you are and admitting that you're either not for the sake of heaven or being for the sake of heaven, and me understanding you. Are you for the sake of heaven? Are you not for the sake of heaven? And that probably makes it aware in me. Am I for the sake of heaven? Am I not for the sake of heaven? Do I have ulterior motives or do I not have ulterior motives? So hanging out with non-Jews is very dangerous. I find out if I'm a shyster, if I'm good, if I'm far, if I'm close, if I hate non-Jews, if I get along with non-Jews. I will find out when I come near the non-Jew. The non-Jew will find out where they stand when they come close to Israel. What's that famous thing? The answer is always no if you don't ask the question. Right? So if the non-Jew wants to know, who am I to God? The non-Jew has a built-in formula, as we're seeing. Go to the Torah, go to Am Yisrael. 1 or 2. Otherwise, there's no issue. If you're going to sit in Timbuktu praying to God, more power to you. It is not illegal for a non-Jew to pray to Hashem in Timbuktu. There's no halakha of the Rambam saying do not allow non-Jews to pray to God in Timbuktu. It is not written. But one who wants to authentically connect to their creator, they are going to come near to Israel. A Jew who is serving his creator will come near the Gerim. All right, that is the reality of the din. And when you start to really take up the Torah for the sake of the Torah, I want to connect to the Torah because I want to be a Jew, because the Talmud is telling you, beware, it's very difficult. That's the din. That's where the Rambam brings the din. 1 or 2. What you do with that din What we do with that, Din, that's another story. Now, we're 2 steps away from the conclusion. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Comments, feedback, anything? Anybody? Is it blurry? Is it muddy? Is it foggy? Is it clear? Is it hard? Is it easy? All right, here we go. Now, this is when I was in Cleveland for the world tour. I had a breakdown on this, and I regretted it because whenever someone gets me with a question, I don't have the answers right away. It gets me because I had it. And I came home and I looked it up, and I was like, man, I almost had that guy. Because he was sure he had me. He was positive he had me. And I didn't know that this Talmud quoted Isaiah 14:1, which is a Ger non-Jew verse. So know your sources. That's another thing. If you don't know your sources, you will be tripped up every time. Because you have to be able to defend the point of view with 100% confidence. Otherwise, you will be making up your own story as you go. When this Tosfos I'm about to read you, he said, are you sure it's talking about the non-Jew there? I didn't know. I would bet money on it is, but I wouldn't defend the language of Tosfos from memory to this guy who I have known for 15 years. You understand? You must know it inside. That's also a matter of Dinim. You don't know the Dinim unless you know the Torah matter very well, having looked it up. Understood? This is all part of the halacha, of the Dinim, of how to learn Dinim. Right? You're talking about people's lives. You're talking about the crux of the heat of it's saying that Gerim are harsh on Israel like thorns or whatever. Right? You want to be able to be strong in that fire. You don't want to become consumed. Here we go. Now we're going to read the Tosfos commentary. Tosfos is, scroll up on your top of your page. The how do you call it? The number 7, like commentary up here. Let me put a check. This guy here. See it? My green check on the top right? Right? Those words over here. That's the Tosfos. The Rashi, by the way, was the bottom left. If you see my check mark in the bottom left, or actually the very middle of the bottom, towards the left, that was the Rashi we read. Okay? Now let's read the Tosfos. Tosfos is the 3-dimensional body of the Talmud. We read the Talmud, we read the Rashi, we're pretty much inside, we looked up the verses. Now we want to let Tosfos open it up, and this is what my challenge was with that guy, and this is the level that if you can crack this, then you're standing on a solid ground, okay? You got to go a little slower, you might have to look some things up, but when you get it, you're going to be good. Kashim Gerim, Perish B'Kuntras. Kuntras is another name for Rashi. Lefi she'enam bakiyim b'mitzvahs. The Gerim are not experts in mitzvahs. Umaviyim paranas. They bring retribution. Every Ger I've ever met admits that they don't want to be doing mitzvahs like Jews are supposed to. That would be called a convert, right? So they do what they do. It's good for them. It's good for the relationship. The difficulty is when a Jew wants to do a mitzvah, if he doesn't understand when the guy says, I'm a ger, and he assumes it's a convert because he doesn't know what gerim are, then he does a mitzvah wrong. He now got tripped up by this ger, who I'm assuming wasn't for the sake of heaven ger, or he would have said, look, man, I'm not Jewish. He just said, I'm a ger, trying to trick to cover as a fake convert. The Jew didn't know anything about ger. He assumed ger is convert, and he tripped. Give me a 1 or a 2. V'od melamdim es Yisrael memaisehim. The gerim around, if they're not doing derech eretz, they're not doing what's appropriate, the Jew will learn from that, and that becomes problematic as well. So again, what is a ger tzedek in the 10 commandments of he who keeps a Shabbat that is not Jewish? When, Rod, you come to my house on Shabbos morning, please do not use my microwave, right? Even though it is allowed for the gerim, my son Reuven sees you using the microwave, and then he goes and uses a microwave because Abba hangs out with these people that seem Jewish, and therefore it is allowed to use a microwave on Shabbos morning. That's what it would look like. That's what would happen, and we would learn from the behavior. So when the ger is in the house of a Jew on Shabbat, in the public arena, they are to keep the laws of Shabbat like a Jew, so the Jew does not learn by mistake. 1 or 2. Okay. V'yesh lefi shekol Yisrael. Okay. There is an idea that all of Israel is intermingled, this one with this one. There's a footnote. It's saying to look up in Sanhedrin 27b. If anybody in their own time wants to look it up in Sanhedrin 27b, you will see what I'm talking about. The law of Milsihi. But that's not true. That's not what this is being comparable to. Why? The halonis arvu bishvil hagerim. They're not. The Jewish people are not scattered and intermingled because of the gerim. Kishekibu haTorah. Because when they accepted the Torah, which there's a note 20 bracket, go to. Okay, non-important note. Kada amrinan besota. This refutation is brought in Tractate Sota, page 37b. Nimsa lekol echad min Yisrael sheshmaot elif ugimel alafim. Shekulan is arvu zeh bezeh. Alma lo nis arvu min hagerim. The Jews were mixed up at the giving of the Torah. It had nothing to do with the Gerim. Shahari arbe erev rav ala ita. That behold, a lot of erev rav went up with them. Bracket, Lamed, look it up. Rashal, Mosif, nothing. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Shahari arbe erev rav ala itam. The yesh mefarshim. Okay, now that's a big question. Let me just think about that 1 second. They're not mixed up because from the gerim. Shahari arbe erev rav ala item. I'm not sure if they want to say the erev rav is what mixed them up, or if the erev rav went up and that shows that they were not mixed up. This is something I want to go back to after we finish. That's something to look up. But we do know for a fact that Gerim are not held responsible. V'yesh mefarshim dekashin Gerim v'Yisrael kasapachat. Lefisha hizir kadosh baruch hu leim be-24 makaimis shelo lahainis isam v'iyavshar shelo yitzaram v'yesh mefarshim lefisha al yedei Gerim Yisrael begalus keda'amar. Mipnei ma Yisrael mefarzim bekul aratzos. All right, in translation, there are those that explain that Israel, Gerim are harsh on Israel like sapachat, because Hashem warned in 24 places not to benefit those people. Or no, sorry, taunt those people. Right? So when we taunt, you are somebody that we want to taunt. When we taunt you, we get in trouble. And it's impossible that we don't bother you. So that's another take. How is it Gerim are harsh? Because they're with us. God decreed them to be with us. We want to taunt them, and therefore the troubles will happen, and we will taunt them, and we will be punished for taunting them. I think we can see that's a little bit of a case in point, correct? And there are those that explain that by Gerim, Israel went into Gullus. Look in Psachim 87b. Why are the Jews in Gullus? To receive Gerim, which is the essence of Chabad Hasidut, that when the sparks of creation are gathered by Israel in Gullus, the Messiah will come. Those sparks are Gerim. See the Ben Yehoyada commentary to the Talmud on Psachim 87b, who says as such. Because the Gerim, we are scattered amongst the lands. Yoter, for more than all of the idolaters, in order that we should gather Gerim, velo nehira dahamar b'viyavamos, oivid koichavim haboli hit gayer omrim lo ma. when Velo Nehira. So it's not so simple that we're collecting Gerim, because in Yevamos, tractate the Talmud, when an idolater comes to Lihit Gayer. Now, here's another little gemstone. Lihit Gayer. We see by Jethro in the Chumash. Was Jethro a convert? Type Art Scroll 1. Art Scroll 1. Why does Art Scroll say Jethro was a convert? Because the Hebrew says Lihit Gayer. They assume that means conversion. It doesn't. There's a famous Rashba commentary that says that Lihit Gayer sounds like ger. It either means to convert ger or halfway convert ger, meaning Katsat Geris, or the gerim that we know. A partial ger. 7 plus 1 equals ger. In any case, when an idolater comes to become ger, Omrim lo, we say to him, what did you see that you wanted to come to ger? Don't you know that Israel is a lowly people? And we say there, because it's explained to Amar Mar, that the Talmud says, Kashin Gerim Yisrael Kasapachat. Israel's Gerim are harsh on Israel. Alma de Basar She Yizgairu Kashim Haim. That after these idolaters become ger, then they become very difficult to deal with. Baha Amar Rebbe Avraham Ger Perish Lefi Hagarin Bakian B'mitzvahs Umedaktakin Behem Kashim Ham Yisrael Kasapachat. We're saying that the Gerim are Perish Lefi Shagarin. They are experts in mitzvahs, and they are careful with them. Kashim Haim Yisrael Kasapachat. So there's another opinion that a ger convert is especially meticulous in mitzvahs. Now do you see how there's two kinds of ger? There's a ger who's not careful in mitzvahs, and therefore he's not Jewish, and we learn from him. Or there's a ger convert who has to be meticulous, and therefore we look stupid because we're not meticulous, and we get in trouble. Either way, ger Jew, ger non-Jew, very difficult for Israel. The B'toch Ken Hakadosh Baruch Hu Mazkir, amidst of this, God reminds us of our sins of Israel when we don't do His will. And in this case, we find Srafit Sham Ramali V'lecha Isha Elohim Ba'ali Lazkir Esavoni. This is coming from Kings 1:17. Taking a verse where we are punished for this reason. If anybody wants to take it upon themselves to look it up, I'd like to know what it means. In Kings 1:17, look over there. V'ri perish l'fika kashim shenitaimu b'Yisrael v'ein hashchina shoyre ela al mishpacha miyuchaset v'chein nir d'mashum hachi maisi had Rabbi Chilbo al ha milsa d'Rabbi Chama bar Chanina. So the real answer to our Talmud, that since Kashim Shenitmu Yisrael, Gerim are hard because they're hidden in Israel, and when we are immersed in the not for the sake of heaven, Ger, the revelation of the Shekhinah is taken away from the Jew and the Ger. So if you play by God's rules, if you're going to mingle with Ger, you retain the revelation of the Shekhinah. If you don't play by the rules of ger, both of you, the ger and the Jew, lose the Shekhinah. And we know that gerim can be good, they can be bad. If they're bad, they're harsh on Israel like thorns. If they're good, they're basically forcing us to see the Shekhinah, and if we're not on the level, we get punished as well. Sof, are gerim harsh on Israel like thorns? 1 or 2? Yes, they are. Now, what that means in context, like Rod, you are turning it into a merciful thing. And that's exactly where the drasha and the mercy comes in. The ger are here, the true ger, to bring mercy on Israel, to remove our sins, to get us to connect to God, to get the revelation of the Shekhinah, be careful in mitzvahs, and not blur the line of Jew and Gentile, so to speak, but to make real gerim and real Jews. Those that want to convert will convert. Those that are not for the sake of heaven, they will be pointed out as such. 1 or 2. Any comments, Rod? Anyone?
No, beautiful.
right, so that is the Tosfos. My only question before we go to Rambam, I want to get that one thing about the Erev Rav. Maybe I'll tell this for a second. Shakula nisarvu zemeze alma lo nisarvu min hagerim. They're not mixed up from the gerim. Sahari arbe. What does that mean? A lot of Erev Rav came up with them. 30. Rashal Mosif. Rashi Nida. So it says, look at Rashi Nida 13b. Let's do that. Always look up those little things. Okay, Rashi where? 13b. Ready? We're now looking at Rashi 13b and Nida. We have a little footnote saying that Rashi is here to help. Let's see if that's true. Let's see if it's true. There it is. There's our Sapachat. Ready? Here's Rashi, 13b and Nida. Kasapachat. Now, what's our Talmud coming to say? Is it our Gerim harsh on Israeli thorns? Let's see, Rabbi Rashi, where are you in the Talmud? Here we go. If you want to write this down, here, this is a nice one. You guys want to hear this? Ready for this? Who wants to hear this? Tana Rabbanim says in the Talmud, Hagerim v'hamischakim and tinokus. Hagerim, babies, and people that play around are holding back the Messiah. Isn't that interesting? There's a good proof, right? Bishlama Gerim. Okay, Gerim, because they're like Sapachat, harsh on Israelite thorns. Dalid takes you to Rambam, Perigid Dalid, Hilchos Yisrael Bia, Halacha 18, the same ones we have. Ela Mischagim Tinokot. Okay, so we now want to see what Rashi says. Why did Gerim hold back the Messiah? That it's written about Gerim in Isaiah 14:1. Nilva Hager Aleihim v'nispachu al Beis Yaakov. Lashon Sapachat shekashim li Yisrael kasapachat. She'ein bakiyim b'mitzvahs. Umaviyin parainos. Va'od shema lamdim Yisrael ma'maiseihin. Mepi mori hazakin. V'yesh omer shekol Yisrael arvim zeh b'zeh. Basically, Rashi is quoting our Tosfos commentary. V'lav milsehi shelo nisarvu b'shvil hagerim the amrinan b'mesechta sota nimsa lekul echad mi Yisrael sheish ma'od elef shloshet elafim brises shekulan nisarvu zebezeh alma lo nisarvu al hagerim. We were not mixed up over the Gerim. We were mixed up over the covenants that were given out. Jacques, that's for you. There was 600,000 and 3,000 covenants. It's very interesting. Let's see what our Tosfos here says. Masha mekasha Rashi delo chashi besota arvos to Erev Rav. This is very good. So the Tosfos commentary in Nida is asking, why didn't Rashi mention the Erev Rav? Do you see how we're connecting the dots? One or two, everybody. Do you see? Yeah. Yesh lomar lefi shelo yada cheshbonen mihu b'mechilta amar de Erev Rav hayu kafelim ki yotzai mitzrayim. Okay. Lefi shelo yada cheshbonan. We don't know how many of the Erev Rav there were, as it says in the Mechilta, which is 20, Parshas Bo, chapter 14. Amar the Erev Rav, they were double those that went out from Egypt. Veri mafarsh lefika kashim shem metaimim Yisrael ein shor. Yeah, okay. So now the answer again, the lo kashi besota. Arvos to Erev Rav. We need to look up Sota. Tosfos just tipped us off that we need to look that up in Sota. So it's 37b. 37b in Sota. This is called taking the long routes, and it's worth it. 37b in Sota. All right, we're going to learn now, really, what's the deal with the Erev Rav and the Gerim. Interesting question to you? Okay, Sota, 37b. 37b. And the Erev Rav. Where are the Erev Rav? Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is actually a famous Gemara. This is a really good one. This is about Mount Gerizim. You guys know about Mount Gerizim, where they wrote the laws, the Torah on Gerizim, the end of Devarim? Here we go. There we go. Meshimon, Ein lacha mitzvah u'mitzvah shekatuva b'Torah shelo nichraso aleya arba'im v'shmona brisos. So, wow, pretty wild. They're saying that there's L'kol echad miYisrael shesh isrei talta zimnei. Wow, hold on. This is a lot of stuff. L'kol echad shel shesh ma'ot elef v'shloshet alafim v'chamesh ma'ot v'chamishim kaminyan shahayu b'Sinai b'midbar shekol echad nasa erev al kol achiv. Okay. So now, one number is Shoshish mode of Shoshim of Kamishim, Amar, the Ray, Yehuda, Aisha, Akwa, Shamar, Rishiman, Mitzvah, Torah, Lo, Nikraso, Leah, Armishmona, Brisos, Shell, Sheshmod, Elef, Shoshiva, Alfim, Kamishma, Od, Kamishim, Nimsa, the Kulachad, Israel, Sheshmod, Elef, Shlosha, Elefim, Kamishma, Kamishim, Mai, Benayu. Okay. So what's to generalize what's going on, a lot of people left Egypt and a lot of covenants were given amongst that. That's what's going on in Sota. There was, like, each person had a whole bunch of covenants. Now, another question for later on, what are these covenants, right? What is a covenant? What are the covenants? Ela divrei habris asher tziva, shrandim as divrei habris. Nimsa 48 brisos. So there's 48 covenants on each and every mitzvah. Wow, is that incredible or what, guys? There are 48 covenants on each and every mitzvah. So you do the math of 600, I guess, and 13 mitzvahs, and all the people that have the mitzvahs. There's a lot of covenants. Now, with that said, we looked up Sota. Let's go back to our Tosfos. And the Lav Milsihi Daha Lo Nisarvu Bishvil Hagerim Kishakiblu Hatoira Kdarinan Besota Nimsa Lakul Echad Yisrael Sheshmot Elef V'Gimel Alafim 550 briso shekula nisarvu zebeze alma lo nisarvu min hagerim. Okay, we got that. They were mixed up because of the covenants. I mean, everyone was intertangled. Shahari arbe erev rav ale itam. Well, that is a great question. What does that mean? A lot of erev rav went up with them. Wow, that is a really good question. Hold on one second. That's a stumping question, isn't it? That is a question. It's really on the noggin there, Erev Rav. So we know the Gerim didn't cause it, but the question is, did the Erev Rav cause it? Shakulan is arvu zebze. Alma lo nisarvu min, they weren't mixed up from the Gerim. That behold, arbe erev rav ala Otam. How is that hard? 1 second. We go back to Sota 37b. Rashi. Oh, I think I found it. Hold on. Okay, I think I got it. Yeah. This is potentially very massive. I hope you know this. I think this is actually the pshat of what were the Erev Rav. 1 second. Where did that other Rashi go? Nida. Where was that Nida at? This is a big deal. This is a very big deal. This is advanced Dinim at this point. Okay, so Pachat. V'yeshma Israel. Israel began Amrin Am Sekta Sota Nimsa Lakol Echad Mi Yisrael 600,000 Shoshat Elofim. Risus Shakula Nisarvu Zebzeh Alma Lo Nisarvu Alager. Tosfos Masha Mekasha Rashi the Lo Chashiv Basota Arvos to Erev Rav. So Sota did not mention the mixed up from the Erev Rav. The Lo Chashiv Basota Aravot the Erev Rav. Yesh Lomar Lafisha Lo Yada Cheshbonan. They don't know how many Erev Rav there were. However, in the Mechilta, Amar de Erev Rav were double those that went out from Mitzrayim. There's our answer. So they didn't know how many Erev Rav there were, and that's why it wasn't factored in. So Rashi didn't mention it. So now by us, in our Tosfos, Shakul on this Arvu Zeb is that Alma Lonis Ravu Minagerim. That behold, Arbe Erev Rav Ale Itam. Yeah, now makes sense. This is why it just says a lot of Erev Rav went up. So this is actually a very big Chiddush. A lot of Erev Rav, more than like double Israel, came out. Israel was outnumbered. I think that's what we're looking at here. And so that must be why the covenants on the mitzvahs is an outrageous number, because there was an outrageous number of people coming out. Yishakol Yisrael Arvin Zebezeh. V'lav Milsahi Delo Nisarva Bishvil Hagerim. They weren't intermingled because of the Gerim, because Shekibu HaTorah Kadamrina Besota Nimsa the Kol Echad Yisrael Sheish Ma'od Elafim Shekulan Nisarvu Zebezeh. Alma Lo Nisarvu Min Hagerim. They weren't intermingled from the Gerim. This is a very big, this is really talking about the essence of Sinai here. They weren't intermingled because from the Gerim. From the Gerim. Behold, Arbe Erev Rav. Okay, I got it. You cannot say that the Gerim were intermingled and dispersed amongst the Bnei Israel, because, number one, we proved that wasn't why. Number two, if you would have said that, then you would have had to say the Erev Rav were, oh, wow, good stuff. I just got the answer in my brain. You hear this? The reason why the Erev Rav, this is real Chachma here. You guys ready for real wisdom? Raise your hand if you want real Chachma. The answer to our Talmud, why are Gerim harsh on Israel like thorns? Because when we do dodgy ger stuff, we lose the revelation of the Shekhinah. Is that correct? Yes. Therefore, do we know that Erev Rav are bad and Gerim are good? Type 1. And we've proven Gerim were not the problem at Sinai. Type 1. Then, if we want to say Erev Rav came up and we were intermingled because of the Erev Rav, is that true? No. If it would have been true and we were tangled with the Erev Rav, we would not have had the revelation of the Shekhinah at Sinai. By definition, the Jewish people were free from Erev Rav at Sinai in order to get the revelation. The Erev Rav, even though there were a billion of them, they could not have been inside or there would have been no Sinai. So there were a lot of Erev Rav, but we were not intermingled because of the Erev Rav. Woof. Is that good or what? Is that good or what? That's good. Then it's consistent with the Talmud's answer. All right. And that is going to be consistent with everything we say in the Rambam. Ready? Halacha l'maisa. Are you ready for the now the law? Okay. We're in Isuri Bia, chapter 13, halachas 15, 16, 17, 18. Here we go. Therefore, lo kiblu Beit Din gerim, the Beit Din did not accept gerim in the days of David and Solomon. In the days of David, it would have been because they were afraid, so they returned. In the days of Solomon, because of the kingdom was good and great, and there was of Israel, they returned. Everyone that returns from the Goyim because of something stupid and like hevel, futility into the world, Eino Megeret Tzedek. You're not a true Ger Tzedek when you return because of something called Devar, meaning a thing. It's got to be because you love God. So how many of you have heard the controversy in the terms Ger Tzedek? Again, not a status. If you are a Ger, either because you are Ger, as we know, Ger convert, the Tzedek, Rambam is going to explain to you what does it mean Tzedek. The question we always want to answer, are you good or are you bad? Are you a problem like a skin disease, or are you really sticky and clingy to the Jewish people? Are you Ruth, or are you an Amalekite, basically? Got it? Speaking of Shavuos. And there we have it. Gerim, where a lot of them became Ger in the days of David and Solomon because of, it's just great that you can filter fish, not for the sake of heaven. And Beit Din, the big one, was suspect about them, but listen to this. It did not send them away after they dunked in the mikveh. That in any case, we don't bring you in. Even though you're Jewish, you do an Asher Meza conversion, you're Jewish, but it's B'diavad. It's low grade. We don't like prosecute you, but we don't bring you in until you show and we check after you. If you are seen to be legitimate, that's called Ger Tzedek, Lecharchila, meaning optimal. According to the Gior of Shlomo's wives, and he married them, and Shimshon did the same thing, Samson, and the thing was known that these did not return, but rather because of a thing, right? It's good to eat gefilte fish in Jerusalem. And not on a proper Beit Din did they become Ger, either for conversion or for Ger as we know it. And when we say Ger Beit Din as we know it, we're talking the Brisker Rav. You raise your right hand. You say, I, Bob Jones, I am a Ger. I keep the 7 laws as Moses taught in the Torah. If you want to be a convert, you go through the program, mikveh, mila, yada, yada. Cheshbon, the verse considered ki'ilu, it was as if they remained idolatrous goy women, and it was forbidden to do anything with them. Furthermore, the end and the beginning is that they were still idolaters. They returned to idolatry. They set up idolatry, and that's how it went down in history. Ger, that we don't check after them, or that we don't let them know the mitzvahs, how they work and punishment, and they circumcise and dunk before 3 regular guys. It is a proper conversion, Asher Mesa style, but it's called Bedievit, like low grade, right? It's like if you want to go to the AC/DC concert and you park your car in the parking lot, do you hear the music? Yeah, technically, you were at an AC/DC concert. When I flew home from New York to Israel, I stopped in the Munich airport on a layover. Did I technically visit Germany? Yeah, I was a tourist in the German airport. Okay, it's not exactly a vacation, but if you want to call it that, I can say, yeah, I was touring around in Munich for a little while. Bedievit, it's low grade, it's dodgy, it's not worth anything. But it's technical. I was on German soil. It's known that because of the thing that you were ger, which is not for the sake of heaven, but you circumcised, you dunked, you are removed from the label of goy, and we are suspect on you until you explain your righteousness. Hence, you go from ger to ger tzedek, and it's not a label or a status. It is simply, hi, what brings you to town? Oh, so you're not for the sake of heaven. Can you go stand over there? Oh, so you're in town for the sake of heaven. Come eat gefilte fish with us. Right? Again, the same premise. Ger are harsh on Israel like thorns, skin disease, or whatever. It's either you are clinging in a good way or you're clinging in a bad way. You need to know and express why you're here. If you can't do that, you're probably not for the right reason. If I'm around you, I need to be able to identify, are you here for the right reason or wrong reason? And even if they go back from their return to idolatry, he's like an Israeli apostate, and he is sanctified in mitzvahs. We have to treat him the ways as a Jew, where it is still allowed, even an apostate. And therefore, Samson and Solomon's wives were still Jewish, even though they revealed their secret that they were idolaters. Again, it's not optimal. It's really, it's low grade. It's being kept on the outside. It's forbidden. It's not allowed. But it's relying on the wisdom. When you bring someone close, then Gerim are harsh on Israel like thorns, or like skin disease. You bring a non-Jew close to Israel, it's very easy for them to become attached to Israel. Very easy. Just like immorality, right? It's very easy to come to immorality if you place yourself in immoral situations. If you place yourself in acute holy situations, holiness will happen. Then it's not known. You're expected to know what to do, and you're expected to rise and do it for the sake of heaven. Because the Rambam ends, and we're going to end the class here. Because of this, the sages have said, harsh on Israel are gerim, kanagat saras, like the skin disorder saras, that most of them return to their ways because they came on in dodgy ways, and the matter is very difficult to explain from them after they have become ger. Go out and learn what happened in the desert, and the Misa, the Egel, and the things they did from Taiva, desire, and many challenges that have happened with those who attach themselves first. But as we know, there's a proper way to do it, and that's what we're about for the sake of heaven. And that concludes the first class on Dinim. The bottom line, what is a ger tzedek? It is someone who has proven with knowledge that they are gering the right way. For the sake of heaven, they're trustworthy. The dangers of ger is a lot of people are not for the sake of heaven. So there are good ger, there are bad ger. There are good Jews, there are bad Jews. When I say bad Jews, what I'm going to say is they don't know ger, they don't know shmer, they don't know hair. So they are really that ger Jew. They don't understand. When you say when the bad ger says I'm ger, the Jew uneducated says, hey, I love converts. It's a problem. If I'm a Jew that knows ger, you say you're a ger, you're a bad ger. I now have to find out if you're good or bad ger. That's my responsibility to know the difference. It's your responsibility to tell me the difference. And that is the halacha. That is the din. Ger must be articulated for the right reason. You must go to Jewish involvement where they know the difference, or you can tell them the difference. If you're going to be dodgy and take advantage of their ignorance, harsh on Israel like thorns or gerim, when you are a good ger and you explain, you're a good Jew and you understand Isaiah 14:1, the Nilva ger will attach to the house of Israel. Thank you very much.